Well, it's better late than never. Here is my weekly edition of the Triple Threat video series on OTRS Central. Today I'm going to talk about some of my thoughts, at least, on Triple H's appearance on the Stone Cold podcast this past Monday, the possibility of Dolph Ziggler and Ryback tag teaming, and then the return of a certain Viper. Typically, if I want to hear Triple H, God himself, talk for an hour, I'll just watch Raw. It's close enough, isn't it? But I did get around to watching his appearance on the Stone Cold podcast from this past Monday night after Raw. And it was Triple H mostly talking for an hour. It felt like he was hemming and hawing and filibustering and, just kind of along for the ride. Kind of what I would expect Triple H to do. Triple H has got this camera time, and by God, Triple H is going to make the most of said camera time. I don't think this was as interesting as the one Austin did with Vince. And one of my real disappointments with this was the fact that I thought Austin threw up a lot of softball questions. To me, my opinion is that if this is supposed to be Stone Cold, the Texas Rattlesnake, the guy who doesn't give a shit about anybody or anything, if he's going to try and sell that personality, sell that shtick as part of the reason and selling point for his podcast, then he actually needs to be that. Austin, start asking some fucking tough questions. Start asking some real journalistic follow-up questions. It would be appropriate, especially in this case. Some of the interesting things we found out is that Triple H acknowledged that NXT is his baby, but that he also knows he's gearing it towards one type of audience, which is also largely the audience, the hardcore fans that subscribe to the WWE Network. The same fans that Vince and the company love to hate, but they can't live without. Like I said, it's a marriage on all sides. So that was interesting. If anything else, that let me know that Triple H is a little more understanding of the current realities and the different things he has to do for the different types of audiences. So that was somewhat reassuring. But his thoughts when he talked about CM Punk and said he really doesn't have a problem with the bullshit. Bullshit. It was just his thoughts on why China isn't in the Hall of Fame. Bullshit. We all know the real reason for that. And if anybody subscribes to that crap about why you can search China and find what you can find, give me a fucking break. We all know the real reason. The real reason is Stephanie McMahon. And let's just call it how we see it. But it's just, I guess I was expecting more. And maybe that's unfair because I wasn't going to get a whole lot more. I was really hoping we were going to get down to the nitty-gritty. I thought it was interesting just how much Triple H talked about kayfabe is dead, and they were just talking about everything in terms of backstage and behind the scenes and building up to this and building up that guy. That was actually kind of interesting, I have to say. My thing is that if kayfabe is dead, then why even try to have it? You either have to go without it or go all the way with it. And it was interesting, I'll say that, but not exactly what I was hoping for. I mean, God had the ability to talk for over an hour. I would have hoped I would have had more things to remember than what I actually did. But at the end of the day, even after the long promo on Raw, God still gets himself an hour plus on the network where he is the star attraction. So I have to say it. Praise God! Typically, the only person that really, truly benefits nowadays from working with John Cena is John Cena. I don't think this is something we deny. This isn't something we don't acknowledge or understand. Some of you might throw out a CM Punk benefits, and maybe he did some. A Daniel Bryan benefits, and maybe he did some. But in general, that's two as opposed to how many. When it comes to working with John Cena, it's always having to deal with the John Cena problem and the John Cena monster. And especially if you were a younger guy or a newer talent or somebody that is beneath John Cena in the pecking order, if you're associated with John Cena in any way, shape, or form, it typically doesn't come out well for you. And when you look at the whole firing angle they did with Eric Rowan and Dolph Ziggler and Ryback, you just had to question the timing of it, the purpose of it, why they would do it. And it was just nothing more than to do something with John Cena for a couple of weeks until you got to the Raw. That's all it was. Plain and simple. It's as simple as that. There was no master plan for Eric Rowan. There was no master plan for Dolph Ziggler. There was no master plan for Ryback. They were just there to help advance a narrative and a story, a crappy one as always at that, for John Cena. And this is why nobody gets over other than Cena. This is why people have trouble breaking out, breaking through that glass ceiling, trying to grab that fictional brass ring, is because as soon as they're fed to Cena in any way, shape, form, or capacity, it always comes about Cena and Cena alone. And now we've got this talk about Dolph Ziggler and Ryback forming a tag team. Just why? The fuck is this needed for? What the hell is the purpose for this? Seriously. How stupid is this? This will be another example of, once again, missing the boat with Ryback and failing to give Dolph Ziggler an opportunity to actually, for once, establish a goddamn character so that way he can legitimately stand out on his own as a single star. Now you're taking Ryback and Dolph Ziggler and throwing them together for what fucking reason? For what fucking purpose? So that way in a few months, one of them could turn on the other and they have a crappy feud resulting in a half-ass match at a somewhat decent pay-per-view? This was the grand vision of the firing angle, was to, of course, as always, just wrap it up in a couple of weeks, and then you're going to throw Ziggler and Ryback together? For what? This is what pisses me off about this damn company. You've got the crowd really behind Ryback. You've got the crowd, even though I don't agree, really behind Ziggler. And you stick them together. Why? Because the WWE is stupid, that's why. It almost doesn't feel right coming out of my mouth. The Schleg Daddy, me of all people. It almost doesn't feel right. But then again, it feels oh so good to finally admit the truth. And that simple truth is that I've kind of missed Randy Orton a little bit. Sometimes you don't know what you got until it's gone, boring or not. Sometimes you understand when it's taken away from you what exactly you've gotten and how much you miss it. And I've been itching for an Orton return for a while now and pining for an Orton return for a while now and wanting him to return. And it looks like this past weekend he finally did. The raging ring boner, the baby oil, the construction workers' beard, the sleeve tattoos, everything. The Viper, the Legend Killer, Mr. RKO, Randall Keith Orton is back, baby! And as a babyface this time. And I hope that the WWE gets it right with him this time. Because they could do some good things with him in 2015. You have the possibilities of feuding him with somebody like a Seth Rollins. If you did bring back a Brock Lesnar for another year, there's another feud for him to have as well. You could have Randy Orton feud with somebody like a Bray Wyatt. You could have him feud with somebody like maybe a heel-turn Dean Ambrose or a heel-turn Roman Reigns. There are all types of possibilities to the point where I'm going to say something I never thought I was going to say. That Randy Orton is one of my people to watch in 2015 and one of the performers that I want to see the most with what they can do with him. So they have the chance to really do something good with Randy Orton. They have the chance to really do something entertaining with Orton. I thought they missed the boat a little bit when the whole RKO Vine out of nowhere thing was taken off and they moved him off of TV because that's what the WWE does. But the timing seems right. The opportunity seems right to make the Raging Ring Boner a babyface. And it's the way it should be at this point in time because he had kind of run his course as a heel. And being aligned with Triple H and Kane was really dragging him down and sucking the life force out of him. So now let's move him over to the babyface side, a side that we need him on at this point in time because if anything else, it prevents us from seeing John Cena and Randy Orton wrestle each other. We'll just get it in Teddy Long tag team style, if you will. But my God, it feels therapeutic and good to actually say that I've missed the Viper Randy Orton. And I'm happy that Mr. RKO is back in the WWE. Yeah, I said it. I can't believe it, but I said it. Yeah. So let me know what you think about Triple H's appearance on Austin's podcast. Was it compelling and riveting to you, or did you find him to be largely full of shit? Your thoughts on the potential of Dolph Ziggler and Ryback tag teaming together. Do you think this is something good, or do you think this is just an epic waste of time? And what are your thoughts on the news that the Viper Randy Orton is coming back, baby, to the WWE? Let me know down below, and make sure you check out the In the Rope show later this week. Me the Schleg Daddy, will be a part of episode 10, I believe it is, of the rant off against the guy who wants to be like me, that wants to imitate me, that wants to act like me. That is Matt from Said in the Rope Show. So make sure you check out that video and let him know who the real deal is.